So did you guys know that there are only 4 types of poisonous snakes in the U.S.? Those are rattlesnakes, copperheads, water moccasins, and coral snakes. Hold on a second, I'm going to mute you guys because I hear a lot of background noise.
And coral snakes can live on water or land.
Oh, yeah.
They can go on the water, land. Are we going to be talking about diamondback rattlesnakes?
We are talking about all different types of poisonous snakes.
Yay.
So every year, there's so many different snakes that are killed because people think that they're poisonous. So we're going to talk about how to identify poisonous snakes so that we're not killing innocent snakes that aren't venomous. Because snakes are really good for our environment. They help control like the rodents and other pests. And so
even poisonous ones help too.
Yeah, poisonous ones help
Let's
too.
try and avoid them.
Yes, we definitely don't want to mess with them.
But if one's gonna like strike at you, kill it.
Yeah, so we want to learn how to identify them so that we know that we're not killing just harmless snakes, okay? So there's 4 different types. So the first type that we're going to talk about is a rattlesnake. Celeste, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I would just want to say, if it's brightly colored, don't touch it. And the way you tell if it's a rattlesnake is if it has one of those shaky tails. And also, my friend told me this because she had a book about farts, and there was a fun fact in there where actually, when rattlesnakes shake their tail, their thing, it's actually for farting.
It sounds like
that's not true.
Actually, that's why they do it. They're actually farting when they do that.
That's not true.
Well, they're defending themselves. They're giving you a warning when they shake their tail.
They're farting.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I never heard that, but maybe some, but they're warning you to stay away.
Well, that's what my friend told me.
And those are 2. This one's the top one that's kind of brownish colored is a diamondback.
Yeah, so your friend might be pulling your leg, Celeste. I'm not sure if that's true. They shake their tail as a warning. So rattlesnakes.
It's a friendly warning, and they're the most friendly snake because they give you that warning, and if you don't go away, they will go like this.
Yes. Yep. They can lunge at you. So rattlesnakes can be found almost anywhere. Did you guys know that you can find rattlesnakes in Tahoe? There's rattlesnakes that live here.
Not in Truckee actually, but you can find them in like lower, in a little bit higher elevation.
You can find them in high elevations. Yeah. So I was hiking in Truckee and saw a rattlesnake. So they are in Truckee.
Scorpions.
Yep. So rattlesnakes can be found almost anywhere. They come in all different colors. Do you see all these pictures? So there can be light brown, they can be dark brown, they can be black, they can have different patterns on their back. This one in the corner is called the diamondback. I grew up in Arizona, and so these are the most common rattlesnakes in Arizona are the diamondbacks. They can even be pink and orange. If you guys see this one.
I really want to say something.
Yes, Poppy.
The rattlesnakes just look like a king snake, and king snakes eat rattlesnakes, but rattlesnakes can hurt humans more, probably, I'm guessing. And the but they look almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell by their head shape.
Exactly. So a rattlesnake has a triangle head and a thick body, which is how you can tell a lot of poisonous snakes, is if they have the triangle head and the thick body. That usually means that they're poisonous. So look at the shape of the head, look at how thick the body is. Another way that you can tell a rattlesnake is that it has a rattle on the tail. And they don't always rattle. Usually they do, but not always. So pay attention to the tail to see if you see a rattle on it. Sam?
I've had 5 gardener snakes in my house.
I want to say one more thing.
Hold on one second. Sam's not done talking.
I've had 3 rattlesnakes. 1 in my backyard, 1 in my front yard. Rattlesnakes? No, garden snakes.
Garden snakes. Wow.
Garden.
Yeah. Garden snakes are amazing. They're really cool and they are helpful to have around. That's cool.
One time my mom was hiking by a waterfall and she pulled herself over this ledge and there was a rattlesnake right there, like eye level.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow, that's scary. Ellery, did you have something to add?
Not about snakes.
Okay, let's keep talking about snakes. Celeste, did you have something to add about snakes?
Yeah. In Hong Kong, you would see a lot of especially in like almost winter, you would see a lot of run over snakes. And because in Hong Kong, it's like so many snakes, that is the number one rule. You're never like allowed to go into our backyard. Well, our backyard is like a tile thing, and then there's a wall with stairs that go up to clear jungle. And it doesn't really help because my auntie is terrified of snakes and worms. Well, my old auntie at least. We had to leave my aunties when we moved from Hong Kong to here. But still, Hong Kong is a very tropical place, so that means there are snakes everywhere, and that it is not a good thing to have a fear of snakes if you live there.
Yeah, because they're everywhere. Thanks for sharing, Celeste.
And my auntie, because she once told me she hates snakes because one day she went to school and there were like so many worms everywhere. So she hates snakes and worms, and it hates it when you just do this with your finger because it reminds her of it. She hates when you like do this or anything that looks like a movement that a snake or a worm or anything like that could do.
I bet, yeah. Okay, so to recap on rattlesnakes, make sure you like look for the tail or you might hear the rattle sound. It sounds like. Also look at the triangle head. If it has a triangle head and a thick body, it usually means that it's poisonous. It has venom in it.
And I want to say that king snakes, it may sound like they have a rattle, but they don't. They're just scraping it against the grass.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing, Poppy. So the next venomous snake in the U.S. that we're going to talk about is copperheads. So copperheads are found in the southern and eastern states. So they're not found here in Tahoe. They're found in swampy areas and in forests, but not in Tahoe forests. We're too high in elevation for them to be here. So copperheads are sometimes really hard to spot because they often freeze, like when a person gets nearby. That's like their self-defense is they just like freeze, and they're almost invisible when they're on leaves because they blend in so well. They, like the rattlesnakes, also have triangle heads and thick bodies. So the coloring of copperheads, it can be a lot of different colors, but they're mainly tan and orange and pink. And then they have blotches or bands or stripes that are bordered by dark colors. So what that means is, so do you guys see these snakes down here? They have like the blotches, like they have spots. And do you see how those spots are outlined in dark colors? Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. How they have spots and then they're outlined in like black. Or this one right here, it has white spots and then it's outlined in the darker color. That's how you can tell if it's a copperhead. The third poisonous snake that we're going to talk about that lives in the U.S. is water moccasins. So again, water moccasins aren't going to be in California or aren't going to be in Tahoe. So you don't have to worry about water moccasins. These are in places more like Texas and Alabama, Louisiana, where it's humid and there's a lot of water. It can be found in Florida. So these.
That's where my grandma lives.
Yeah. Where
We go to visit a lot.
Yeah, so she probably, maybe she's seen water moccasins. Maybe you could ask her, see if she has any experience with them. So water moccasins are also called cottonmouth. And they're called cottonmouth because when they are feeling scared, or when they feel like they're when people are around and they're trying to defend themselves, they open their mouth really big and they lift their head back, and it looks like cotton in there because it's all white in their mouth. So they'll open their mouth and lift their head back like that, and it looks like cotton in their mouth. So people call them cottonmouth. They are the only venomous water snake in the U.S. All the other ones don't live in water, and so that's pretty fascinating. They are found near water, and they have large bodies with triangle heads, just like the copperheads, just like the rattlesnakes. And they can be all different colors: brown, green.
What about rubber boas? We've seen them be here before.
Cool. And sometimes the babies are bright colors. And they sometimes can look like copperheads, but you know that they're water moccasins if they have a white mouth when they open. Yes, Ellery.
Do the water moccasins live in Reno?
No. Nope, they don't live in Reno.
Too dry.
Yeah, they like water. And the final poisonous snake that we're going to talk about is a coral snake. So these snakes, I think they're super beautiful.
Wait, I want to say one thing. There's a snake that looks just like them that's not poisonous at all. You can pick it up. It barely bites. But there's also a coral snake.
Yeah. So we're going to learn how to tell the difference. So, you know how I said that lots of poisonous snakes have the triangle head and the thick bodies? Well, these ones are opposite. These ones have not a triangle head. They just have a round head, and their head is skinny. So it's hard to tell like which side is the tail and which side is the head. Can you guys see this picture down below? It's kind of hard to tell which side is the head because they both have skinny ends. So a coral snake is related to a cobra, and it lives in the southern states. So again, you don't have to worry about coral snakes here. The only kind of dangerous snake that you need to worry about here is rattlesnakes. So coral snakes are less dangerous than rattlesnakes, copperheads, and water moccasins. So even though they're venomous, they're the least venomous snake. And they have red, yellow, and black bands. They're also the only venomous snake that has round pupils. So the other poisonous snakes have line pupils, and I'll show you what that means on the next slide. So how you can tell if it's a coral snake is you can remember this little rhyme. Red on black is friend of Jack. So if it's just red and black, it's safe. Red on yellow will kill a fellow. So if there's red on yellow, do not touch it. Can you guys repeat that little rhyme? Red on black is friend of Jack. Red on yellow will kill a fellow. I'm going to test you guys. Okay, who can remember? Oh, this slide says it too. Who can remember the rhyme? Sam.
Red on black is friend of Jack. Red on yellow kills a fellow.
Yes, nice. Good job. Can anyone else repeat it? Good job, Sam. Poppy, go for it.
What was it? Yellow on black, right? No, that was the other one.
That kills people.
Oh, yeah.
Try again. Red on black.
Oh, yeah. Red on black is friends with Jack. Yellow. No. Red on yellow can kill a fellow.
Yes, good job. Okay, yes, so very good. Red on black is friend of Jack. Red on yellow will kill a fellow. Yes, Ellery?
So we're all gonna say it.
Yeah, does everyone want to say it together? Okay, let's say it together. Red on black is friend to Jack. Red on yellow will kill a fellow. Yes, good job. And that's one way that you can remember. So if it has red and yellow and black, stay away from it. It is poisonous. So this little picture you can see, so all these different snakes are they're part venomous pit viper. So what that means is that they have the large triangle head and they have the vertical pupils. Can you see this snake at the top and how it has a line for its pupil? You know that that's poisonous. A non-venomous snake, other than a coral snake, because we learned that a coral snake has the round head and the round pupils. So, but if it has a round head and round pupils, then it usually is not venomous, unless it has red and yellow will kill a fellow, right? Awesome. Okay, so now we are going to really grind in these snakes into our brains by making them. So how we're going to be making these snakes is doing an activity with salt dough. So we're going to be making some salt dough. But first, I forgot, we're going to review what to do if you get bit. So if you get bit by a poisonous snake, the first thing you want to do is stay calm, because the more you freak out, the more your heart pumps and the more that the venom is going to circulate in your blood. So you want to stay calm. The second thing is don't move around. You should go to the hospital as soon as you can, but if it's possible, maybe somebody can carry you to the car or just maybe call the ambulance, but don't move around. You shouldn't be running around, because again, that'll make your heart pump faster and make the venom circulate in your blood. And then you want to also make sure that you keep the bite lower than your heart. So if you get bit on the hand, you want to make sure that your hand is down and not raised, because then if your hand is raised above your heart, it'll travel through your blood quicker. But if it's down below, it won't travel as fast. Do not apply ice. Do not try to suck out the poison, and do not apply a tourniquet. A lot of people think that you should do those things. You should not. Okay, so for our activity, we're going to do salt dough snakes. Do you guys all have some flour and salt and water? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to go into the kitchen and I'm going to show you guys how to make it. So you're going to need a bowl as well. Okay, I forgot to put that on your list to your parents. I'm going to grab my flour and my salt. So if everybody has, grab their flour, salt, and a bowl.
Okay,
is it okay if my sister joins us?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Because she really wanted to do this.
Yes. We're happy to have Mirabelle join us. Right, so grab your flour and your salt.
How much?
1 cup. Do you have something to measure it with, Poppy?
How much? What do we need for 1 cup?
1 cup. Do you have a measuring cup?
Yeah, of what?
Of flour. So everybody grab your measuring cup. All right. I also like to grab a butter knife to make it even. So you're going to get 1 cup of flour. You can watch how I do the flour. So I like to get it flat and scrape off any extras with the flat part. So see how it's super flat? Because I scraped it off like that. So then you're gonna have 1 cup of flour.
Well, if they're still hungry,
and then you're gonna put it in your bowl.
Yeah, then you can have the basic turkey and cheese of the day, or whatever the bagel and cream cheese. Because that would solve the issue with lower and
okay. And then you're going to take your salt. You're going to measure out a 4 cup of salt. Did you say?
No.
How much salt?
1/4. So a 1/4 cup.
Is that 1 flash 4?
Yes, 1-4.
4?
1/4.
Yeah,
Let me see your cup. I can tell you.
Labor for sandwich building.
Yes, that's perfect, Poppy. That's how much.
Or
I already measured mine. It's a 1/4 cup, so I'm just going to pour mine in the bowl. And then you're going to put some water in your cup. And you're just going to put a little bit of water in at a time, okay? Just a little bit. Because you don't want it to make too soupy. So just put a tiny, tiny bit in. And then we're going to stir it. Got it? Of water. Just a tiny bit of water.
How much water? How much?
Put a 1/4. Do you have your 1/4 cup still, Poppy?
This one?
Yep. So fill that up with water.
I'm still filling it up with salt.
Okay.
Right.
First, fill it up with salt.
The signal's probably not long enough.
Miss Alex, is it okay if the salt isn't all the way full? Because we didn't have enough salt.
That's okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then you add the salt, and what do you do after you add the salt?
Add a little bit of water. So in your 1/4 cup, put some water.
How much water?
Because they're voracious.
Just put some in your cup.
Okay. In the bowl? Just some in the bowl?
Only a little bit. Tiny, tiny bit. And then you stir. Because you don't want it to make it super.
Hold on 1 second.
And then you mix it?
And then you mix it.
Nancy and
Okay, and then, so like mine's still crumbly.
they sound like, let's just
I'm gonna add a little bit more. See, can you guys see how much I'm adding each time? Just a tiny bit. And then I'm stirring.
We're having a really hard time hearing you with all the background talk.
Okay. Let me mute everybody.
And then do we mix it?
Okay, so everybody, I muted you all. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself, but then mute yourself again, okay? So everybody listen for a minute. Poppy, listen for a minute, and then you can ask your question. So you fill your cup of water, okay? And then you're just gonna pour a tiny bit at a time, and then you're gonna stir. Because we're trying to make, have you guys ever played with Play-Doh? Give me a thumbs up if you've played with Play-Doh. Okay, so we're trying to make it look like Play-Doh, okay? So you don't want it soupy. So that's why we're just adding a little bit of water at a time, okay? Just a little bit at a time. Just a tiny bit, okay? You guys are doing excellent work. I can see you guys.
Miss Alex, are we allowed to eat them after?
No, this isn't to eat. It wouldn't taste good. So mine is getting close. Can
you still try it though?
It's not to eat.
No?
So see how mine is getting like doughy? That's what we want.
Okay, so if it's not doughy enough, you can always add more water, right?
Yes, yep. Add a little bit of water, but just add slowly. Just a tiny bit of water at a time. So it should all be clumped together.
I need more water now.
When you're done. Okay, yeah, if you need a little bit more water, add a tiny bit of water. But remember, you don't want a lot. And you want, see how I have it almost all together, but there's still a little bit in my bowl? That's what you want. So I should not add any more water, even though I have a little bit of flour in my bowl still. But then what I'm gonna do is use my hands and press it down to get all the other flour to stick. Okay. So when you think that you might need a little bit more, stop right there. Don't add any more water and just try kneading it with your hands. Okay, so see how I have it in a dough ball? You want it to feel like Play-Doh. And mine is a little bit sticky. I added a little bit too much water. So I'm going to add a tiny bit more flour back into my, I'm gonna take a spoonful of flour, then I'm gonna add it. So, because you don't want it to be sticky. And then we just knead it. So what it means to knead is you just press it down to gather all the loose bits of flour. Okay. So now mine isn't sticky anymore. Now mine feels like Play-Doh. So you should be able to squeeze it between your fingers without it sticking to you. And that's how you know that it's good consistency. You guys are doing excellent. Good job, guys. Nice job, Sam. Good job, Poppy, and Jack, and Ellery. Very good. So remember, it shouldn't be sticking to your hands. If it's sticking to your hands, you added a little bit too much water, but that's okay. You can just add a little bit more flour. And it should feel like Play-Doh. Awesome.
Miss Alex, I have a question.
Yes,
can you just like add more flour if it feels like it's still sticky to you? And can you add more of anything if you just sort of want to experiment with it to try and make it feel perfect?
What do you mean add anything to it? We're only adding salt.
No, I know, but I just mean like to add like more flour, just more flour, more water, or like stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like perfectly this recipe. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's too sticky, you need to add water. If it's too dry, then you add a little. If it's too sticky, you add more flour. If it's too dry, you add more water. It sticks together, but it shouldn't stick to your hands. See how my hands are clean? So if it's sticking to your hand, add a little bit more flour. You guys have good perseverance. I know this is kind of tricky.
What if it's not sticking together?
Then let me see, Poppy. Can you hold it in front of the camera? Oh, it is sticking together. You just need to knead it a little bit more. So just squish it in between your hands and keep working it until it's all mixed together. I think it looks great, Poppy. If you think it needs a little bit more water, if it's like crumbly, if all the pieces are falling off, then you can add a little bit more water. But sometimes it just takes some work with your hands. The great thing about this recipe is you don't have to bake it. So what we're going to do with it after you guys are done, we're going to make all the snakes that we just learned about. We're going to make them. So you are going to make a rattlesnake, a copperhead, a coral snake, and a water moccasin.
Can we
What'd
use
you
food?
say, Poppy?
Can we use food dye?
If you have permission from your parents, you can, but it might get your hands, it might stain your hands. So I would recommend just doing it with regular dough, and then you can use a marker and paint them after, or not paint them, but color them after. Nice. I see your guys' dough balls. It's looking awesome. Good job, Sam. Good job, Ellery. Let me see, Jack. Do you have your ball? You have your dough ball, Jack? Nice. Good job. Okay. So once you have your dough ball, Celeste, you got your dough ball? Is it coming along?
It was a bit too dry, and then I added a bit more, too much water. So now I just have to cover it in flour again.
Okay. Yeah. It sometimes is just trial and error. So once you're done, once you have your dough and it's not sticking to your hands and it feels like Play-Doh, you can take off, you want to section it into 4 pieces because we're going to make 4 snakes. So rip off 4 chunks. They don't have to be even. So I'm going to make 4 balls. Four balls. So I have 4 balls right here. You guys see that? And then you're going to roll them into snakes. So we're going to shape them just like we learned about. So our first one that we talked about was the rattlesnake. So you're going to shape this into a rattlesnake. So remember, we talked about they have thick bodies and a triangle head. So you're going to make it have a thick body and a triangle head. You can make it have a tongue if you want. Let's see. And then don't forget the rattle. And you can make it look whatever you want. I'm going to carve some diamonds into mine. So I'm with a little knife or with my fingernail. I'm going to put some diamonds into my snake so that it looks like a diamondback rattlesnake. So remember, the key things for a rattlesnake is the triangle head and the rattle. And then I might take my butter knife And I might make some rattles, make some lines so that it has a rattle. Might put some eyes in it. I might take a tiny little piece of dough and make a tongue for it if you want. And remember, once these dry, you can paint them however you want.
I made a dough mixture that helps stick it together with just flour and water.
Cool. Yeah, it's just trial and error. This is teaching us good lessons about perseverance, right, guys? So you guys can make it look however you want. So you can use some of these pictures of your rattlesnakes for some inspiration. Let me see, Sam. What? Oh, nice.
See this bucket?
That's
Good job.
I got 3 to go.
3 more to go. Yeah. So next is, so put it out in the sun to dry.
Yeah.
The great thing about this recipe is you don't need an oven for it to dry. You can just put it out in the sun and then it'll dry.
Rattlesnakes, but we were not talking.
So the next one is, here you go, Sam. You can work on the next one, is the copperhead. So remember, again, it has the thick body and the triangle head. And it has the blotches on it that are different colors that are surrounded by the dark color. And you guys, you can make your snakes straight, or you can make them curled up.
I forget what the rattlesnake one looked like.
Yeah, I can go back. Here you go. So it has the triangle head, it has the rattler. You can put diamonds on its back, or sometimes they have the stripes or the blotches. This is what mine looks like. You can see mine. Mine, I put the triangles and the little tongue, the rattler.
I don't know how to make the head.
I'll show you how I do mine. How I did it. Okay, so you roll it.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it like a snake. And then what I do is then I pinch it where I want it to go, and I pinch the other side to make it narrow like a triangle. So I pinch 2 sides, and do you see like how it's like kind of like a triangle right there?
Yeah.
You pinch it, and then you can flatten it, but I like to hold its neck to shape it.
Okay.
Triangle. Try that.
So okay.
Definitely doesn't have to be perfect. The great thing about this is that they're all going to be different.
Yeah.
And just like every snake is a little different. There's no two snakes that are alike. They all look a little bit different. They have different patterns, different colors.
What does the next one look like? The milk snake?
The copperhead. Here you go. Here's the copperhead.
Yeah.
So the copperhead has the triangle head, has a thick body, and then it's colors. So you can draw on it maybe with your fingernail or with a pencil or with a knife or a butter knife. You can put some blotches in it, just like it has here.
Can we Sharpies on the snakes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use Sharpies.
Okay.
So once you have one snake done, maybe you want to get a pan or a plate. I'm going to put my snakes on a plate so I can set them out in the sun to dry. I'm going to put it, or you can just leave it in your house for a few days to dry.
Alex?
Yeah. Yeah, Ellery? Oh, I can't hear you, Ellery. Hold on one second. Let me mute everybody else. What did you, oh, sorry. What did you say, Ellery? Can you unmute yourself? I muted everybody else.
What do you do after the copperhead and the rattlesnake?
You're ready to move on? The next one is the water moccasin. So remember, a water moccasin oftentimes is just one solid color. It can be different colors. But the thing about the water moccasin is it opens its mouth a lot and shows its white inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the mouth of this snake open and paint it white or color it white on the inside. So I might get a butter knife. I'm going to get a butter knife. I'll show you how I'm going to do mine. I'm going to get a butter knife and I'm going to, where its mouth is, I'm going to pull it open like this. See how my mouth is open now? So now my snake mouth is open so that it shows you the white inside. You can maybe add some fangs in it if you wanted to. I'm going to add some fangs to mine. How's yours going, Jack? Is Isla helping you?
Yeah, it's just can you look at the rattlesnake?
Oh yeah. You want me to go back?
On making them.
There you go.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. So a lot of these snakes look really similar. It's kind of more in the coloring. So once you decorate them, that you can make them unique and have different colors and have the different markings. And you can color them once they're dry, or if you want to color them when they're wet, you can do that